What's up and welcome. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. In this video, I am going to walk you through Figma bits and pieces. Who is this course for? This course is for absolute beginners. We are not going to create a project necessarily, but I'm just going to show you some tips and tricks and also how to use Figma as a beginner. First things first, let's just give a brief about who am I and what I do. I am Matthew Msingati. Not only am a designer, but I am a developer. If you might be interested, you can check my coding channel, which is Coded Design. This is where I code user interfaces that I am designing here at Coded UI. If you might want to contact me, maybe you want to learn something, feel free to go to my website and then you can click here on Discovery Call. You can give me your email and your name and then click submit. This is a 10-hour coaching course where I teach you exactly what you want to know. If you might want to be updated about Coded UI and Coded Design, feel free to check the link in the description below and join my newsletter. I hope you are excited as I am. Let's just jump straight into it. So, as a beginner, you want to know, how do I create a page in Figma? Let's do that. As you can see here on Figma, we've got this icon for a frame. If you click here, as you can see, this is a frame. Let's say this was the active icon at the moment. If you press F on your keyboard, as you can see, you can jump to the frame. So as you click here in a frame, you can see here you've got a lot of options. With Figma, you can design for website, you can design for mobile, and also you can design for paper printing. So let's just quickly check the option. If you want to design for a phone, you can click here and choose the size of your choice. If you know you're going to design for an Android, you can choose the Android. If you are going to design for an iPhone, you can choose for iPhone. And then we've got the tablet. If you might want to design something specifically for a tablet, you can choose one of these. If you might want to design for a desktop, maybe it's a website, you can come here and choose one of these. And then if you might want to make a presentation, obviously you can check here. Let's just quickly jump to this one, which is paper. If you want to design for paper printing, you can choose this one. You are free to go and check some of the options which we are not going to use in this course. In this course, we are going to check the phone and the desktop. So that is it. These are the options for the frame. However, if what you are looking for is not here, you are able to create your own size. How do you do that? You can go to the frame and then you can drag, click and drag, something like this. So with this one, you are creating a custom frame. Let's say we want to create a user interface for a mobile phone. So we are going to click here on the frame and then we are going to go to mobile. Let's say we want to create a user interface for an Android. You are going to go here and just click here. As you can see, this is the size for an Android mobile phone. And then what if maybe you don't like this option? You can click here and press delete on your keyboard and then go back to frame again, and then you can choose another option. So let's just choose any for now. As you can see, we don't really see the difference between the foreground and the background, or we don't see the difference between the background and our canvas or page. So what you can do, make sure you are clicking on the background, the entire project, not in a frame. Make sure you click outside the frame. You will see this color value, and then you can click here and make the background darker a little bit. So this helps you to bring a contrast between the background and the foreground. So after you are done with that, as you can see, this screen is more like fitting the entire area. Maybe you might not want that. How do you solve this problem? If you look here on the top right, there is 80%, which is the zooming option. Let's just decrease here and see what will happen. Control zoom out. As you can see, now the screen has been zoomed out a little bit, so meaning that you can be able, maybe when you are dragging and dropping an image, you've got some room to drag the image outside the frame and play around with that. So now we are done with creating a frame. Now let's talk about renaming a frame. Obviously, you might want to rename your screens, maybe screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, or maybe according to the purpose and essence of the UI, homepage, dashboard, and login. So how would you go about doing that? So you can just click on the name here. You can just double click there, and let's say this is homepage, and then you can click enter. What if maybe you want to create the same screen so that you can create the second screen from this template or size? You can just click the frame and press Ctrl D. As you can see, I have just duplicated this frame. So what I will do, I will come here, and then from then I will type login. Okay, let's say now you want to save the whole project. In Figma, since it's online, you don't really have to save the project. It's being saved automatically. To me, this was the game changer for Figma. I am used to CorelDRAW, Illustrator, or Photoshop. These are desktop-based applications. Well, not all of them, they differ, but with CorelDRAW, I've just realized that I used to have some minor issues when the program has crashed while I'm working. This means that I have lost a lot of work that I have done. In most cases, I used to start from scratch. Now, let's go to Figma on the web. Everything is being saved automatically. If you can save the window right now, your work is already saved. But however, this doesn't mean that you are not supposed to rename your project. Naming things is very important. Now, let's name the project. So if you want to name your project, you can go to this draft. And then from then, let's say UI course. As you can see, this project has been renamed to UI course. Now that we are done with it, let's just see what are the options under the frame. As you can see, we've got a frame, we've got a section, and we've got slice. More about these on a different course, since this is just for beginners to get you going. Now let's start from here. As you can see here, you've got a move option and a scale option. When you want to quickly toggle to the move option, you press V. When you want to toggle to the scale option, you press K. This is very important, more especially as a beginner. If you don't understand this, you might struggle to resize things here on Figma. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you've got a text that you want to scale. Then you can click here. You can type something. For now, what we can do, since this screen is very small, we can just delete these screens. And we can create our own canvas or our own frame, the one that is going to be bigger and is going to fill the entire screen. I'm happy with this. Now, let's say you've got your text here. Okay. Let me change the size to be a little bit bigger. As you can see, this text is a little bit bigger. But now, let's say I want to scale it, okay? If you can click here and scale it, as you can see, it doesn't scale. When you want to scale down, as you can see, it doesn't scale. So what can we do in this case? Remember, we said we've got move and also we've got scale. So if you want to scale this, you must come here and click scale, and then from there you can scale it, meaning that when you are scaling it, the whole text or the whole object is scales proportionally. Okay, so meaning that when you press V, it means that you are interested in the detail and customizing the actual element. Okay, so let me show you an example. So what I want you to do now, as I'm toggling between V and K, just look at what is going on here on this properties panel. Now I am on K. I'm going to make a shortcut. As you can see here, it's either we press V on the keyboard or we press K. Now automatically we are on K for scaling. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to press V. As you can see, when we press V, we've got more option. But when we click again and press K, we've got less option. So if you want to know if you are on V or you are on K, K for scaling and V for moving, you can check based on the sizes or based on this display of the properties panel. If you've got a lot of things here, you must know that you are already on the move option. If you've got less options just like this one, this means that you are exactly on the K option for scaling. I hope you got that one. If you might have any questions, feel free to check or feel free to comment, to shoot a comment in the down below. Now let's continue. Let me delete this. Now let's continue. Now you can see that we've got the move and we've got the scale. Let's see what are the use of these. Let's say we want to create a random shape, and then if we want to move it around, as you can see, we are already on the move. Okay, so we can move this and scale it and do whatever that you want. We can change the width and we can change the height. So basically this is for moving objects around the screen. And then, as we have demonstrated before, that we've got the scale option. When you want to some sort of scale things proportionally, this is very important. Proportion in design, it's very important. Imagine if you can take a picture and then take it to a design program and only increase the width of it. It means that it's going to look squashed, meaning that you are supposed to scale the picture or the image up instead of increasing the width, because once you increase the width only, you are tampering with the proportion of the actual image, which is professionals don't do that. Even people who know nothing about design, they can see that there is something wrong with the image. Let's say you are trying to fight with the laws of nature. Okay, so let's continue. Now that you know how to use the move tool and also you know how to use the scale tool, we are already done with the frame tool. Now let's say you want to create your own custom shapes. So what we want to do here, you can come here. As you can see, the shortcut is R. You can come here and create your own shape. Figma makes it easier for you to create the rounded corners. As you can see, these dots here, they are helping you to easily create some rounded corners. What you can do with shapes also, you can give them a custom feel, which is a certain color. So if you want to do that, you can come here and change the color here. Let's go back to rounding the corners. As you can see, now it looks like the rounded corners have disappeared. Okay, so how do you then make sure that you still get the rounded corners? What you can do, you can rely on zooming the object in and out up until you see the rounded corners. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the touchpad of my laptop to zoom in and out, but feel free to zoom manually. So let's zoom in and let's zoom out. Let's click the object. As you can see, guys, now we can see these. Let's zoom in. When you zoom in, you can see them. Let's zoom out until we don't see the rounded corner option. As you can see, at a certain distance, you won't see the rounded corners. Okay, as you can see now, they have disappeared, but as soon as you zoom in, as you can see, they are starting to pop in. And then let's just go through the properties that the configuration of any shape. Okay, so once you click this shape, as you can see here under design, please bear in mind you have to always note that where you are. Sometimes as a beginner, by mistake, you click on the prototype and you won't see more options here and you might be confused. So always make sure you are on the design tab. Now here, what you can do, you've got some tools for aligning things. These tools are used by professionals. When you are creating a poster or a UI, at some point, these are not the things which are physically in front of you. Remember, as much as design has got an element of art in it, but we are not artists, meaning that we don't have the paint and the brush in front of us. So sometimes it's not easy when you are working with more than 50 objects in the canvas. It's not easy for you to know what aligns to where. So what do professionals do in that case? Professionals, they rely on these tools. For instance, you can select all the object and align them top. Automatically all their edges will be aligned on the top and they will always be on the same place. Or you can align them left, bottom, or you can just center things using these options. So these options are very important. So now let's check what you can do with these options. Okay, let's just click on this shape and click one of these. As you can see, once we are done clicking this, it automatically moves to the center of the page. Makes your life easier. Imagine trying to fiddle to find the center of a page. Time consuming, right? So with these options, they make it easier for you to quickly move things to a certain place. So as you can see, once we click it here, it moves to the left, and once we click this one, it moves to the right, this one to the bottom, and this one to the top. What is interesting about this option, it also works on aligning shapes themselves or design element themselves. So what we are going to do, let's duplicate this shape. How can we do that? We can use the traditional Control C, Control V on Windows. Control C, Control V. As you can see, we've just got a copy of the same shape, but we can delete that, and then click here and press Control D for duplicating. Let's just quickly test. As you can see, we have just created a copy of the same object. Now, let's just play around with the sizes a little bit. Control C, Control V. Okay, let me put make this small just to make sure that these are not aligning. Okay, just to make sure that these are not aligning. As you can see, now we've got chaos. As a designer, whether you are a graphic designer or you are a UI designer, this is what you do. You create a message out of a mess. So chaos is the enemy of a designer. So if things are like this and you are comfortable with a designer, it means that your skills are not to a level whereby you can work for a company or you can work for a client. Being organized is the first law of design. So what we want to do, we want to arrange these elements in such a way that they all start from the top. Not only they start from the top, but they need to align. As you can see, if we can do this, my apologies about that, if we can do this manually, it will mean we have to take this one and take this one and take this one and take this one. As you can see, this is somewhat there, okay? But if you zoom in, we might make some mistake, okay? Because we are human beings. When objects are too far, at some point, they look like they are aligning. But as a